Okay. And what I wanted to do was move right along, and let's just get my screen. The monthly project, sewing project or technique or embroidery project, this is something that I've been sort of pondering about for a while. Now, I know some stabilizer companies have got a little system for their stabilizers and rolls of stabilizers. Some people buy stabilizer in sheets. Some people buy it in little pre-cuts. But generally speaking, I buy it what you see in that picture. I buy it like what you see in that picture. And it's a bit of a mess. I have that basket that I bought off Amazon, and I have it up on a top shelf so that it's out of the way, because it really is quite ugly. So if you've got any suggestions about how you deal with your stabilizers and keep them organized, please tell me. I also want you to ask, if you've got questions today about, hi, whoever's just joined us, hello, if you've got questions about stabilizers, for example, I don't know what this stabilizer is. When do I use it? And what am I supposed to use it for? Please just chip in. There's not that many people that I have muted you. So you can just use the little hands up thing, or you can just interrupt me and say, hey, Liz, I've got a question. And we will certainly attempt to answer those questions. No problem. And share your ideas. So what I did was I wanted to create my own stabilizer wraps. And I am going to, you can see there, yeah, in the picture, that what I did was I went to my embroidery machine, but this could just as easily be done on your sewing machine. If you, let's say, don't have an embroidery machine, and you have a sewing machine that's got an alphabet program. In other words, it'll let you do name tags and words on your sewing machine. You can certainly do exactly the same thing that you see in the picture there now. And so what I did was I went to my embroidery machine and I typed in tearaway medium, and it popped into my embroidery screen. And then I just moved it up to the top of the hoop. And then I typed another one like medium cutaway or light cutaway, whatever I had that I wanted names for, wash away, heat away, you name it. And so there it is. If you have it in the embroidery section of your machine, you're going to go to that ABC font section and you will simply type up the stabilizer names you want to use. Tear away, cut away, wash away, as I said. And you're going to enter, this is important, you're going to enter each line individually. So after you've typed cutaway, let's say cutaway medium, then you, or whatever it is you want to say, then you're going to say, okay, or whatever your machine requires you to do. And then it will pop into the screen, the edit screen. And that gives you a chance to move them around and arrange them how you want them to stitch out. They will all pop into the middle of the hoop. Most, I think, embroidery machines do that. So you will, each time you say okay, and it goes into the embroidery screen, you'll need to go and move it away from the center. Otherwise, it'll all pile one on top of each other. All right. Does everybody understand that?
Yes.
Okay, great. And if you were doing this at your sewing machine, we'll talk about that in a moment. Okay. You're going to arrange them on your screen with space between each line. Now, on my embroidery machine, I used my very largest hoop. I have the Janome 15,000, and I used the hoop that is almost, but not quite 12 inches long vertically. And I put 3 of those little grids in my edit screen between each line of what I had typed. And another way of doing it, of course, is if you have embroidery software, not everybody has it. And I had to send my laptop back to Janome when I left last year. So I don't actually have a terribly exciting embroidery software. So I did it on the screen of my embroidery machine. It took me maybe, it's a little laborious. it maybe took me 15 minutes to type all the names in that I wanted and arrange them how I wanted, but then I was okay. And then you're going to, if you do it in your embroidery software, you're going to then, after you've done it, which is very much easier, it's like typing on the keyboard of your, well, it is typing on the keyboard of your computer. And then you would transfer that to your machine. And then you'll hoop up with Cutaway Stabilizer. The reason I chose Cutaway was because I didn't want to be picking tear away out behind the back of my fabric. I just thought that was far too much fuss. And I then sprayed that Cutaway Stabilizer with a little bit of glue, not a lot, and I laid my fabric over the top of that. I chose to use vinyl, and I will get my camera in a moment and show you that. I chose vinyl because it wouldn't fray around the edges. You certainly could use fabric, but you're probably going to have to turn it over and hem it, or maybe put a bias binding around the edge, something like that. Felt is another option because that is not going to fray. And another great option would be cork. Now, I know that cork fabric is quite precious. Most of us tend to use it for bags, and it's not that inexpensive, but if you had little offcuts that you wanted to use, that you could certainly use for the same thing. So I don't know if anybody's got any ideas about what you could use, but like I say, it's best if it does not fray. And then you will stitch out each of the rows on your hoop. And I chose a different color. So I did my wash away stabilizers in blue, and I did my tear aways in yellow, and I used a bright orange for my heat away. I don't actually have any heat away at the moment, but I am planning on getting some. Then what I did after I had finished the embroidery completely is I removed the hoop from the machine, removed the vinyl and my cutaway backing, and then with my rotary cutter at my cutting mat and my ruler, I cut them into strips. So I will show you that in a moment. And then I cut away the stabilizer close to the writing on the back. All right, so I used Velcro dots. It's not proving to be terribly successful. And I'll explain a little bit more about that in a moment. Okay, so let me stop sharing and go to my camera. Okay, and I need to okay, so I have something set up at the machine, but here is one of my strips of vinyl, and I certainly can put that on another hooping, and I can embroider something else. This was just a little piece that I cut off down the side. So if you look here, here is my, and you know what I think I'm going to do is I am going to move this, do it like this. All right, so there is my wash away. And as you can see, it's one of those filmy stabilizers. It's on a roll, and you can see I haven't even cut away. I don't know if you can see it. I haven't even trimmed away those little threads between my lettering, and I'll get to that eventually. Now you can see here that it embroiders really beautifully on the vinyl, and there is my blue. Now there are my Velcro dots. I was trying to figure out what was the best way of doing this. And I really didn't want like a ribbon or a tape or a cord and tie them. I also thought of elastic, but the trouble with elastic is you've then got to get it over the top of the stabilizer and pull it down. And I tried that, and it really wasn't terribly good. It all sort of buckled up at the top here. And I thought, no, no, no. I want something that I can just wrap around and hold. Now, what's happening is the Velcro is holding perfectly, but what's happening is the glue is not sticking. So what I intend to do is to go back and at my sewing machine, just do a little crisscross of sewing on each of these little Velcro dots, and then they will be stuck fast. I know you can buy these self-adhesive Velcro dots. I actually saw some in the dollar store this morning, and they were very inexpensive. I think they were $1.25 for a little package of them, but the glue is not necessarily going to be strong enough to hold it. All right, so there's one. Then this one is another one, and this one is my sticky tear away, which happens to be a Jenny Haskins product. And that, of course, is where you peel back the paper and the tear away is sticky. So whatever you put onto the hoop sticks nicely. And then I have, and this one's come apart, which is the problem that I was telling you about. All right, the glue has come off this other side. So I'm going to just put it back for a moment. And this is my nice thick wash away heavy. So that was my idea for today. And I've got lots of them. I've got tear away light. I've got tear away medium. I've got cutaway light, which is like a mesh. And if they don't all roll off onto the floor, this here was my hooping. And I don't know that you are going to see it. Let me just move the camera a little bit more. There we go. There is my hooping, and I will move the camera so you don't feel like you've got to turn your head on its side. What I did was I hooped up my hoop with cutaway and then sprayed with a little bit of glue and then laid that vinyl over the top. And this was just a remnant of vinyl. So it wasn't as though I had gone out and specially bought some vinyl for this. All right, so any questions about this project? And we can...
Liz, oh, I know, hand up.
What was that?
Oh, how do you do it now?
Okay, so I'm just going to move some of these things out of the way. And right. So let's just see here in the chat box. You got a card for homemade for the holidays project. Okay, that's brilliant. And okay, thanks. I just thought the colors would be good, because then if I was specifically looking for my wash away or my tear away, I should see it at a quick glance. All right, so what I want to do is just quickly go back to share my screen and go on to the next slide. All right, so I don't know if any of you have made what I like to call a humbug bag. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't, but it's a slightly different take on your little zipper baggie with two side seams and a zipper at the top. So I thought what I would do today, I don't believe you can ever have enough little baggies. So I thought today what I would do is I would show you a little baggie. All right, whoops, let's just go back. There is a bunch more of them. And so once again, we can stop sharing and I will take you to my camera. Can everybody see my nice orange fabric? And what I will tell you first of all is that I used my, let me get this.
It's an old fan.
Okay, so you can probably see here, I have got my quilting guide bar, and I used that to do this diagonal crosshatch quilting. And I did that beforehand because I really didn't want to have you all sitting there watching me do that. It took me maybe 10, 15 minutes. It really didn't take long, but I thought, you know what, you can all pretty much do that. If you're not sure, then certainly you can ask me. I know Melissa will most definitely not have to ask me. She is a walking foot queen, walking foot quilting queen. So all I did was I marked a diagonal that way and a diagonal this way. And I used that. I sewed the first one on top of my marking, and then I used my quilting guide bar so that all of the others were evenly spaced. And I think I kind of achieved that. So I could take the little quilt guide bar out now if I wanted to, but I don't think it's going to get in my way. All right. So what happened then? Oh yeah, of course, it fell on the floor. I then went into my little stash and I found myself a lovely orange zipper. And if you look at the zipper, we're actually going to make the bag, and it's got green lining inside. We're going to make the bag that way, the long way. So if we look at the zipper, it is much longer than it needs to be, but that is the way I like it. And I will explain to you as I go exactly what I mean. So you're going to take the zipper, and on one of the long sides of your block, and you will have this video afterwards to watch if you want to make this little baggie and you haven't done it before and you want a little refresher. And I also have another video for you on my YouTube channel. That one is a public one. So you certainly could watch it. And that is also on one of the slides. You will see that to get to that video. All right. So I have made sure that it's a little bit beyond the end of my fabric, just so that zipper stopper is not in my way. And remember, I said to you that I have put the zipper right side to the right side of the bag. In other words, the zipper teeth are face down. All right. And then we are going to do just a regular straight stitch. And I'm going to ride this left-hand side of the foot up close to where the back of the teeth are. You don't see the teeth, but you'll be able to feel them. And so I also want to do something. I want to move my needle position, and to do that on this little machine, which I've taken out after many, many years. And I'm actually loving it. Do you see that my needle moves from side to side? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my needle right over to the left so that it is as close to those teeth as possible. It doesn't have to be. You could stitch a little bit further away, and then you will just see more of this orange fabric next to the zipper teeth. But I've moved it over to the left-hand side. And I am going to do a little reverse, and then I'm holding the zipper so that it is nice and flush with the edge of, whoops, turn my reverse off, and here we go. All the way down the side. Stop at any stage if you need to readjust the fabric so that it is even. And then at the end, I'm just going to do a couple of little back stitches as well. All right, so now I need my thread snippers. This is, as I say, I got this machine out after I sent most of my machines back to Janome. I kept my lovely big embroidery machine, but the M7, oh, I just about cried when I had to send that one back. But this one I got out, and I bought it before I immigrated to Canada. So I'm reckoning this machine is probably, it's a FAF. It's probably about 25 years old, because I bought it a while before I left South Africa. And honest to goodness, I have hardly looked at it for the most of the time I've lived in Canada. And it just sews like a dream, even though it's an old lady at 25 years old. All right, so once again, I can move my needle position a little bit further because I'm in that same stitch, and that looks about good to me. And I am now going to top stitch this side of the zipper. But I want you to notice that on the back, the fabric and the zipper, I'm pushing away to the left-hand side. I am not leaving it going to the right. It's being tucked away under there. And then I'm riding this side of the zipper, the foot, up against the teeth of the zipper. And now I feel over here that I need to stop and make sure that that fabric is facing to the left, the fabric underneath, and then I need to do the same thing there. And it's very important that you do this top stitching because it honestly, it doesn't really lie flat if you don't. And so there we go. And now you can see that I have, whoops, let's go over here. I have top stitched that right next to the zipper. Okay. And I wonder what thread I've, okay, so it's good. It's good. I thought I maybe had a black thread in the bobbin, but I don't. Sometimes I don't check what I have in my bobbin before I start sewing. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to flip this up so that right sides are together and that you are matching the side. All right, does anybody have a question there? All right, and here we go. I am putting some clips on just because sometimes I find them really quite easy. And let me focus again. There we go. And I am now going to, is this the way I want to do it? Let me just double check. No, it's not the way I want to do it. All right, what I want to do is open up my zipper, and now you can see why I like a long zipper, because once you've opened it up right to the end of the zipper, it's going to lay beautifully flat on my bag. So once again, we need to lay the zipper right side down. And I think what I'm going to do, first of all, is this. I'm just going to lay it like I had it earlier and just pin it there and pin it there so that I know that my sides are even. All right, and now I can open the zipper all the way. Of course, that clip is blocking me there, so I just had to move it slightly. And here we go. I'm going to open up the zipper all the way along to the end. And so now you can see that my zipper is laying nice and flat on my fabric. All right, we're going to do exactly the same thing again on the other side of the baggie. Whoops, I need to move my needle position over to the left. And I'm touching the wrong button. So there we go. And then a little reverse. By the way, I'm hearing somebody sneeze. And
Sorry.
that's okay. No problem. It made me think of something. My husband discovered something yesterday. Did you know? Because we sure didn't know. They've been awfully quiet. Did you know that if you go with your care card to your local pharmacy, that you can ask for COVID test strips and you will get a package of 5 test strips for every time you go to the pharmacy, but you can only go once a month? And I thought, my goodness, they were awfully quiet and didn't tell us. Now, I know I'm talking about BC. It may be different in other provinces.
I knew that.
You knew that?
Yeah, our pharmacist told us.
Oh, well, you got a good pharmacist. But as soon
He's excellent.
as soon as I produced my care card, I was given 2 packages, one for me and one for my husband, because I had his ID with me. And he's not been feeling very well. So we were testing today to see if he had COVID, because apparently every second person is getting it, but he didn't. He's fine. All right, so there we are. Now I have to top stitch this one as well. So once again, I'm going to flip everything over to the right and move my needle position again and do my top stitching. And as I go, I am going to just check it every so often. I could have gone to the iron and pressed this, and then it probably would have behaved a little better for me, and I wouldn't be having to sort of make sure all the way along that it was lying flat. But there we go.
But that's an extra step, Liz. You don't need to do that.
No, not in a class like this, but if I was doing this on my own at home, I probably would.
That's right.
Okay, so there we go, cutting off my threads. And I'm somebody that really doesn't like a lot of threads. I always trim them. And I will tell you that, as I said, this little machine is absolute little miracle, but it doesn't have a thread trimmer. So I'm somewhat missing that feature. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to close the zipper about halfway. And now we are going to come here and we're going to line up. The zipper is folded over on the end, and we're going to sew that side seam. And I am going to move my needle position. Now I've got two options here. I can do a straight seam if I want. I can do a straight seam, and then I can come back and finish off the seam because it's raw. Or I'm going to have a look and see if, yeah, I do. I have got a stitch on this little machine that will do 2 rows of straight stitch and a zigzag between them. And I'm thinking that that would be quite a nice way to do this baggie. So you can see it's doing a straight stitch. And I'm hoping you can see. Okay. And I wonder if I put the light on here, if that will help you. Does that light help a bit? Yeah, maybe it does. All right, so there I am. I'm going to sew that all the way down to the end. Now, because I'm using a nylon zipper, I know that I am probably about 90% safe that my needle is not going to break. But you probably noticed that I did slow down a little. And I'm just going to reverse. Okay, that's one thing I really like on this machine. It doesn't matter what stitch I'm doing, I can reverse. Some machines, if you do reverse and it's a decorative stitch, it immediately goes into a tie off. All right, so let me bring this up to the camera so that you can see. Do you see it's like a little zigzaggy stitch as well as the straight stitch? Okay, so now I am going to cut off, and I know those scissors won't work. Let me grab a bigger pair of scissors. Okay, so I'm going to get a nice big pair of scissors and just cut that zipper off completely. All right, now I don't throw this little zipper leftover. I call them zipper leftovers. I don't throw it away. What I do is I pull it open and then I give it a good yank, and then I remove that little metal clasp and I put that in the garbage. And I'm going to show you now what we're going to do with one of the 2 zipper pieces. All right, so now we come to the other end of our baggie, and we now need to sew it closed. So ordinarily, if we were making, let's say, a little pencil case, all right, and I think what I'll do is move this up a little bit now so that you can see more of what I'm showing you. All right, if we were doing, let's say, a little pencil case, we would now sew this side seam along here. But no, we're going to do it a little differently. And the first thing I need to do is get a pin. And I am going to put the 2 pieces of zipper, or the 2 zipper tapes at the top, and then with a pin, mark exactly the middle of that seam. Okay, you see there, I put a nice pin there. And now I'm going to get this zipper tape, and I'm going to fold it over in half to make like a little loop. And I'm going to put it dead bang on top of that pin. Let's just get it straight. And then put the pin back in again. All right. Now I am going to bring my zipper over the one side of the side seam. And I'm going to put a clip there. And then I'm going to bring the other side, and you want them to be the zipper pieces, or the sides of the zipper, to be close together, not overlapping, but close together. And I would probably put more pins or clips if this was a much longer seam. And you know what? I don't think it's 100% even. So I'm going to move this very slightly. I don't want it to look squonky afterwards.
What was that word?
Squonky.
That's a new one, Liz.
Is it?
I like it.
Good. I'd never heard cattywampus or something. What was it? I've heard some people use that term. I'd never heard that before I came to Canada, but in any event, here we are. Oops, and my needle has come out. The threads come out of my needle. So I will just thread that up. And now we are going to sew this other seam. Oh, and of course I drop it on the floor. Okay. Do you see now what it looks like? It's got this odd shape. And you could, it depends on the size of the fabric rectangle that you start with as to what it's actually going to look like. So now I have got still that stitch that I used to end off this other seam. And so now I am going to start my stitching, and I'm going to use my reverse to go back to the edge and then switch my reverse off and come forward. Now, one of the things that's rather nice about these clips, I don't know about you, but I really, really love these clips, and you can't sew over them. So, you know, the old story about don't sew over pins. That's one of the cardinal rules when you're sewing. And it's true, because I've once sewed over a pin and it broke the needle, and a piece of needle flew up and hit me in my face. Well, I mean, I wasn't injured, but it could have gone into an eye. And if you're going to be very cautious, you wouldn't sew over a pin. So, of course, we know we've got that pin tucked in here, holding that piece of leftover zipper tape. So I'm taking that pin out now, and I'm going to go over the zipper, and I need to take the other clip out. All right. And now I'm going to put my reverse on, and I'm going to go back again, because this is the part that's going to get a fair bit of wear and tear as we are opening and closing our zipper. And so there I go over it, and all the way down to the end. Okay, and then a little bit of a reverse, and I'm done. And I can clip my threads again. And now what we need to do is get those big scissors again and cut that little bit off the end. Those little bits go in a baggie that I have under my table that we are making kitty and doggy beds, and they go to the Delta rescue place, animal rescue place. I don't throw any of those little bits in the garbage, because I don't want all that sort of stuff in the landfill. And I think doggies and kitties need beds more than the landfill needs all my scraps. Okay, so you can see here, I am turning it out. And now I can close my zipper, and there we have it, a little humbug bag. Now, before I ask if there's any questions, I wanted to just ask you guys, and I can do the video. Okay. All right. So I wanted to explain to you why I really, really like this little humbug story. This humbug bag, when I was a little girl in South Africa, my dad was a first-generation South African, but all my grandparents on both my mom and my dad's side were Scottish. And so there was a lot of British ancestry in the family. And my dad, as a real special treat, would have a big tin of old-fashioned mint humbugs. I don't know if any of you have seen that candy. And when we were good, my dad would use a spoon, and he'd open the metal lid on this tin, and we would all get a mint humbug. And I've got very fond memories of that. So when somebody showed me this little baggie and said that she called it a humbug bag, and I thought, oh, I love that. And I've been making these little humbug bags for a long time. So any questions on the humbug bag?
You've just given me a great idea. I'm going to make some for the grandkids for Easter.
Yes. Great little thing to put Easter eggs in.
Well, or anything, you know, even the boys have little knobwats and thingamajigs.
Yes, absolutely. And do you know, it's not only just for pencils and pens, but I think that when I get on the plane on Sunday and go to Toronto, I'm going to use this little baggie for my scissors and my pins and all the bits and bobs that I want to take with me while I'm being videoed next week for Jennifer Tryon's homemade events. So you could use it as a little sewing bag. It could also be for cosmetics. Now, this one is maybe a little bit too long and skinny for cosmetics, but that was the piece of fabric I had. I could certainly make it wider and not as long. And then I would have more of a sort of like a little pyramid shape. And then the nice thing about it, I think, is that it opens up and you get to see what's inside
Everywhere.
quite easily. Whereas if you have another bag that's sort of long and a short zipper on the top, you're digging into it. And then in the end, I usually toss it all out on the counter so that I can find what I'm looking for. All right. So any more questions on the humbug bag?
No, I love it. I love the colors.
Okay. Shall I tell you as well, it makes a nice gift bag.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to use wrapping paper and those paper gift bags with handles, you could give that little humbug bag to somebody with a soap and a hand cream or whatever you want to give them as a gift. Any other observations, questions, comments?
Can I say something about the stabilizer?
Absolutely.
I was watching you and it's a great idea, but my concern is with the wash away stabilizers,
Yeah.
the lightweight and the heavyweight. I keep mine in a plastic bag because I don't want them to go stiff on me.
Okay.
So I would wrap the vinyl or something or plastic around them and then put the label on them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No reason why you can't. And that's a good point, because when I am using my wash away, and then look at that, it's obviously been torn away from an embroidery design. I don't throw that away. Again, I think it might be my Scottish ancestry and my accountant husband, but I don't throw things like that away. These get put into a little zip seal baggie, and then I close that baggie so that it keeps it from drying out, as Anne said.
Right.
And then this is what you can do with those little bits and pieces. Sometimes I use them for buttonholes or small things that need to be stabilized. But do you see it's a bit cloudy and sort of slightly milky looking? It's got a few little unmentionables floating in it. And that's because there's no preservatives in this. Okay, I just put some of that water-soluble stabilizer on my cutting mat, and I just went with my rotary cutter until there were small little pieces. And then I put them into this cheap dollar store spray bottle. Yep, it cost me $1.25, so very inexpensive. And then I filled it with, well, not totally filled it, but filled it with water up to about there, and then gave it a jolly good shake. And all of those little bits of water-soluble stabilizer dissolve. And I will tell you that sometimes the nozzle gets a bit gummed up, but then I just take it to my bathroom sink and I unscrew this and I put it in my sink and I kind of flush it out. And then once it's flushed out, it will work again. And do you know what? That is the next best thing to best press. And if you want it stronger than best press, you just put more water-soluble pieces in there. And I think, you know what, if it starts to get too many unmentionables floating in it, I don't know, I can see thread in here for sure that was maybe attached to some of my stabilizer. But there's one sort of funny little brown piece floating around. I have no clue what that is. But do you know what? I've got so much. This is not the only bag of leftovers I've got. I'm just going to tip this into the kitchen sink and start a new bottle. No big deal.
Yeah,
okay.
Great idea.
Liz,
All
how
right.
much stabilizer do you put in there?
If I remember correctly, I chopped up into little pieces and I think I had them up to about there.
Okay.
And then what I would do is maybe start with less rather than more, and then put the water up to there. The reason I'm not saying put the water right up to the top is because you're not going to get much shaking value with the water. So just put the water to there to start with and give it a good shake. And when you see that it's all been dissolved, you can give it a whirl at your ironing board on a scrap piece of fabric and see if it's maybe not quite strong enough. Then you can put a little more in. But once it's in, you can't take it out. So I would do it sort of like in stages.
Okay.
This one's been beefed up a lot. That's why it's quite milky. Because Best Press is lovely, but if I'm wanting to stiffen something, this is the one I reach for, because this one makes it fairly stiff. A little bit
Alright.
like a can of starch from the grocery store. Okay,
thank you.
okay. Any other questions about that? About that or stabilizers in general? I am going to do a video when I get time. It won't be this week. I'll be in Toronto the whole of next week, but I'll be home for the Easter weekend. And then I've got to prepare. Thank you, Melissa. I've had several guilds now approaching me, and I've got a guild meeting booked in May, so I need to prepare for that. And like you said, you know, you've got the preparation up front, but once you've done the preparation, did you by any chance tell a guild somewhere in Ontario about me? You don't know. Okay. Anyway, I had them approach me, and we'll see where that leads. Okay. So I want to just go back to my PowerPoint, and it looks like maybe I stop the video and there we go. And I need to share my screen. What have I done here? I did something different to what I did. Stop focus mode. There we go. Except that I still don't see my stop the video. Sorry about this, ladies. And now my mouse doesn't want to work. I really don't understand why it's not coming up on the screen. Okay, not to worry. Let me just quickly go and have a look at my PowerPoint and just check that there's anything else. Oh yes, I know that I wanted you to see this. So hopefully you can. Let me go back to share my screen. There we go. Sorry about that little kerfuffle. And this is the humbug bag that I showed you. And then on my YouTube channel, and you'll be able to see this in the video, so you don't need to scribble it down now. But there is the link, or you can just go to my YouTube channel, and I do believe this humbug bag video is free, and you can watch what I showed you with this orange bag today. And then I had something else to share with you. A friend of mine, a good friend of mine, recommended this lady. She lives in Toronto, or somewhere near Toronto, and her name is Karen. And she has a YouTube channel and a website, and it's called Just Get It Done Quilts. Has anybody come across her before?
Yes.
Okay. So do you agree with me that she's got a really good thing going?
Excellent.
Yes, I follow her all the time.
Good, good. So I'm preaching to the converted then. But in any event, I was told about her earlier this year, and it took me a while to sort of get onto it. But now while I'm sewing, I listen to her with my wireless headphones, and it's fabulous because, you know, I don't have to be watching necessarily, and I can hear her while I'm sewing. So that's been really great. Now, anybody got any questions? And just a reminder that there's no such thing as a silly question. Anybody got any questions?
Can you show that? I was just trying to write the YouTube video down for doing the humbug bags and it disappeared on me.
Okay. And I will be sending the video link to this presentation, this sewing club, to you afterwards. And so
Okay.
if you ever wanted to get it, you could just whiz through the video and find this. But if you want to write it down as something quicker, that's fine. Just let me know when you're done.
Yeah, I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, great. And so what I want to do now is tell you, that my panty class is now open. And I am offering, you're the first guys to hear about this, I am offering a $20 discount on this class. One discount per person, and the discount's valid only until the 15th of May. So if you want to go to my website, which is www.sewwithliz.com, so 2 W's and 2,
No, there's 3 W's.
at the beginning, yes. Okay, so if you want to go there, and I have already set up the discount, so it will show up when you check out. And that panty class includes the kit, which will give you enough fabric to make 2 pairs of panties. And I have a smaller kit and a larger kit. So you would order the one that you think is better for you. And there's enough elastic, fabric, everything for 2 pairs of panties in the kit. It also includes the pattern, which is the smoothie panty pattern from Jan Bones in Manitoba. And it includes the video of how to make your panties. So if you're interested in that, there it is on the table on offer. So it is Panty Class 20. If you forget that, it'll be in the video, but you might want to just scribble it down now, because I don't believe I put that actually on the website. It just comes up automatically to those that know about it. All right. Then I do have another website special for you until the 15th of May. All bralette and panty kits, plus select bra making supplies are 15% off. So if you wanted, let's say, some hooks and eyes, or you wanted some more rings and sliders, or another kit to make a bra, there you are. It's all there for you on the website, and you will get 15% off. Okay, any questions about that?
Do you have a pattern for somebody who needs something more than a bralette?
Not a free one.
No, well,
But
even a paid one.
I can certainly let you know ones that I've used that are good. I just made Christine, you know her, and I just made her a bra, and I think I put it on my Instagram and Facebook. It's gray with pink and gray lace. And
Okay,
she's apparently
I'll look for that.
wearing it today, and to see if it passes the all-day test. But she was very thrilled. She was all sort of excited, and first custom bra she's ever got. And the reason I'm doing it is, number one, obviously, because I love her. But number two is because my bra and panty drawer is almost overflowing, because I have been making panties and bras almost non-stop since August last year. And I just wanted to start making bras for other people. So Christine was top of the list. And then I've got 2 other people who've asked me to help them. Okay, so what have you been sewing lately?
Liz, I just wanted to say that I did see that gray and pink bra on Instagram today,
Yes.
and it is beautiful. I love it.
Okay, excellent.
Have you
And
about making bras with a wider strap and not just the skinny elastic.
Yes, I do that actually.
Yeah. I have a pacemaker and I can't wear an ordinary bra with the strap because it cuts into.
Okay. You certainly can use a wider elastic, and I'm just trying to see why I am. Oh, there I am. I mean, there's various different elastic sizes. So let me just grab some elastic to show you. My daughter specifically asked for narrow elastic, and this one here I made, and I think what I'll do is I will just do the speaker view so that you can see a little better. All right, this is the one, this is the Barrett bralette that I'm actually making next week in Toronto. It's got lots of little fuzzies on it, I think. And yes, I used very narrow elastic here, but it happened to be the elastic that I dyed, and I used turmeric. Kitchen turmeric
great
to dye
coloring.
this. Now, I'm told by somebody on Facebook that it's not going to last because it'll eventually fade and wash out. All right, this one is a much thicker elastic. All right, do you see that? And so this particular little bra, which is exactly the same pattern as the yellow one, but I put a band at the bottom and I used wider elastic. So if you use a wider elastic, you just need to use larger rings and sliders. That's the only difference. And then I thought I'd show you this. This was the one, my very latest one. And
well, that's sexy, girl.
I know. Not that it'll do me any good, however. But this
we
bra,
won't go there.
No, we won't go there. This is a bra that I had cut out quite a while ago. I bought the mesh from Erin, who spoke to us last month about knit fabrics. And I bought this from her shop, and it had been cut out for who knows how long. And I actually, you can see it here, there it was backed, lined with this cream lingerie fabric, but it really wasn't very stretchy. And so when I put the bra on, it was really way too tight. And it just wasn't going to work. So the other night I was lying in bed and I couldn't sleep. Do you ladies have this?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. So I was lying in bed, couldn't sleep. It was about 1:30 in the morning. And I thought, oh, drat this. So I got up and I came through to my sewing room and I got my trusty, where are they? Well, I wanted the mini ones. These are the big applique scissors, but I got my mini ones out because that's the one you need for this job. And I cut away all that lining from inside the mesh. And then I tootled through to the bathroom where there's a mirror and I put it on, and I couldn't believe that it now fits because it's now able to stretch. Do you see that? Whereas before, with that lining behind it that wasn't so stretchy, it wouldn't fit. All right. And then I will show you two other things. This I made as well. And it's got two layers of this very sort of see-through kind of lingerie fabric on the back. And then the polka dot party fabric, which is also a mesh. All right, just a stretchy mesh. I had that. And then you might wonder, why did I put that lace down the middle? Well, because this mesh, I had only just enough for the kits for Jennifer try on. And this was literally a scrap that was left over. And I didn't have enough for the front of the panties. So I had to put a seam down the center front. And so I put the lace over the top to disguise that seam and then cut away the polka dots from behind the lace. Can you see that?
Yes.
All right. And then nobody, unless I tell you, nobody would know that I was covering up a center front seam. All right, and then this fabric is absolutely gorgeous. It is a bamboo knit, and I have it on my website, I think. It's really so soft. It literally feels like velvet. It's wonderful. And so I did this one a little differently. I put a fold over elastic around the edge and then made a pair of panties. So all of that's going with me in my suitcase on Sunday. And I think that might be, no, it's not all I've got to show you. I've got more to show you. So let's quickly go and get it from over here. All right, I'm going to just put the camera back on at the machine. And please stop me at any time if you've got questions. All right, so when you're doing all that lingerie sewing, it's very slippery, thin, soft fabric. And this machine, as I said to you, I really love it. However, it doesn't have a single hole plate. And it's a machine that was made in Switzerland, or made in Germany, actually. And I don't even know that I could find a single hole needle plate. But in any event, when I'm making bras and panties, I need a zigzag and an elastic stitch. So if I'm going to be sewing, let's say on this very soft bamboo, and I'm going to be doing my side seam. So let's just pretend that there is my side seam, and I'm going to start sewing here. It is so luxuriously soft. Trust me, that is going to get sucked down into my needle plate. So I found myself quite frequently putting my piece of fabric, and I like to call it a leader. It can be about 2 inches square. This is slightly larger than that, double layer. This happens to just be a little piece of quilting cotton. This here is just a little piece leftover mesh cutaway stabilizer from when I was working on those wraps for the stabilizer rolls. So I just kept a little piece, and that can work just as well. And so what I then do is I start off sewing on this little piece of fabric. Some people call them stoppy starties. Some people call them leaders. And then we'll pretend that this is my lingerie fabric, and then I just sew directly off onto it. And you know that that avoids all the drama when it gets caught up right at the beginning of your stitching. And I just thought I'd share that with you because, oh, the times it's got stuck in the last little while that I've been sewing all this lingerie, it really annoyed me. Okay, so let's go back to share my screen. Okay, anybody got any questions at this stage?
Liz, that bra behind you on the mannequin,
Yes,
that looks very interesting. Are you going to do a class on that one?
I'd love to. That's a wired bra.
That's okay. That's more of what I need.
So let me just stop sharing. That one actually, it's been very well worn. That one I made quite a number of years ago, and it's very pretty. You can't really see it from where you are now. It's very pretty lace, lavender, lilac-y lace and pink. And I worn it and worn it and worn it. And the pattern that I used is the classic Pinup Girls from Beverly Johnson in Ontario. But if we did a class, I would figure out, you know, whether we would use that one, because it's not my favorite bra pattern. I started with the classic Pinup Girls. And I'm not going to go and look on video. No, I'm wearing a mesh bra today, which is a bralette, not a bra. The one I made for Christine was exactly the same as that, the classic Pinup Girls. But my favorite one is actually called a Bella Bravo 2, which is got, if you look at that bra behind me, it's got 2 pieces in the cup, just an upper and a lower cup. And if you're a tall, you know, your girls face east and west, do you know what I mean? And you really want them to face forward. Then what you need down the side is what they call, I forget now the name of it, but it's an extra piece that then pushes you a little bit towards the middle, and it suits me better. And then also the lower cup has got 2 pieces, so it's actually a 4-piece cup, and that one I prefer. I mean, it's more work, and this bra here, certainly as a beginner bra, is a lot easier than the 4-piece one, but it's 6 of one and half a dozen of another, I suppose. Okay, any other questions?
That was great. Thanks.
You're welcome. And then let me just quickly pop back to my video. Sorry, not my video, my PowerPoint. Okay, I wanted to show the people who recently attended the House of Stitches Embroidery Club, and we made this little shoe bag, and I was so thrilled when people sent the photographs of what they had done and put those photographs on my Facebook page. So thank you very much for the ladies that took part in that. Sharon, I believe you were one of them.
Yes, I was.
That's right. And
It was a great
Diane,
class.
yeah, on the far left, that's Diane's one. She did emerald green and purple, which is lovely. And I do believe the other one was Cheryl's. Okay, so we come up now to our March winner, club winner. And remember, I said last month that you would get a choice of a rotary cutting blade, that's believe a 45 millimeter, or a pair of rainbow thread snips, or a pair of little rainbow scissors. I think the technical name is embroidery scissors, but they could be thread snips. So you get your pick of one of those 3, and then on top of that, you get some pre-wound bobbins. So once again, I'm going to come out of there and come back to the screen, and let's see who's going to win. Now, for those of you that don't know about it, I have a big glass jar, and if you put your post photographs of your completed work on my Facebook group, which is Sew and Learn with Liz Thompson, you get a ticket in the draw, and I have a monthly draw. If it's something that you did in a class with me, so let's say you decide to make a humbug bag. So before you give them to your family, Anne, what you would do is take some photographs of it and then put it on my Facebook page, and you would get 2 tickets for each humbug bag you make.
Wow.
Yep. And if you finish a quilt that maybe you did with Jennifer Tryon, or you did with your local guild, or you made a garment for yourself, but it wasn't in one of my classes, no problem. We love show and tell. We still want to see it. And then you get 1 ticket in the draw for each of your completed projects.
Great.
So let's give it a good shake up. And so that we're all clear and transparent, and I'm not cheating, I'm now going to pull one name out, and it is Kay Walkup. Kay is not with us this evening, and that's one of the things, is you don't have to be here, because some of the people that participate and sign up have to work. So we said you don't have to be here. So Kay will get her choice. I'll have to send her an email and ask her. And then what I will do when I change the registration page on the website, and I will put there what the prize will be for May. And I do believe that the May, it's the very first Wednesday in May. I think that's the 4th of May. If somebody wants to just quickly check their phone for me.
I will.
Thank you.
First Wednesday is May. It is the 4th.
Right. So that will be our next Sew with Liz Club on May the 4th. And I had one lady yesterday give me a suggestion of what she'd like to see in the club. And obviously I have to dream up these ideas every month. So if there are things that you would specifically like to see, then I would love you to put that in the Facebook group as well, or you can message me. You don't have to make it public if you don't want. And then last month, as those of you that were here know, that Erin came and spoke to us about knit fabrics and different types of knit fabrics and so on. And I think that was pretty good. So I'm going to try and also get guest speakers from time to time. And if you've got some suggestions of people that could come and talk to us, let me know. Okay. All right. Any questions, any more that you want to say or comment or anything? The floor's open.
Perhaps Melissa would do a presentation on her walking feet.
Yeah, maybe you would, Melissa.
I probably would.
Okay, let's talk.
Sounds good.
Any other suggestions or questions?
No.
I'd like to thank you, Liz. This is
You-
my first Zoom meeting with you.
You're very welcome. And if you want club number 1 and club number 2, just let me know and I'll send you the video links. They are what we call private videos on my YouTube channel, so they don't show up. But if you have the link, you can watch them.
That would be great for me.
Okay.
I would too, please.
Okay, just drop me an email to liztsews@gmail.com. And just to remind me, because I know that 5 minutes after this is finished, I'll have forgotten. So if you just send me an email and say, I want club 1 or club 2 or whatever it is that you need. Obviously, if you were registered for it, you should have received it. And if I fell, you fell through the cracks, I'm sorry. Just let me know and I'll happily resend.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, ladies, thank you so much. And I will see you all again soon.
Thank you very
That's
much,
great.
Liz.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Thank you,
Thank
Liz.
you.
You're welcome.
Really
Bye.
enjoy it. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.